Much easier said than done, that's for sure. But if you want to stop feeling pressure from society, pressure from unrealistic beauty standards, I think it's important to pay attention to the attention that you're giving to these things. The way that you're thinking about the beauty that you see. Because what we see online is not supposed to be a mirror for what you should strive to look like, for what you should strive to be. Hey, it's Carly Burr, and welcome back to Taking Life Offline. Today, we're going to be talking about beauty standards and pressures that we feel from society today. Clearly, social media has made it easier than ever to feel insecure. But insecurity isn't anything new. It's always been around, and it will always be around. And it's just different now. It's more in your face now because no longer are the people who are making you feel insecure about yourself only people who you see on magazines or people who you see on billboards or people you see on TV. They're people who you might even know or people who you see who are part of your circle online. In my opinion, the problem isn't that people are contouring, that people are getting Botox, people are getting fillers, people are getting lifts, they're getting tucks, they're getting extensions, whatever it might be. The problem is the attention that these types of things get. The problem is that people get these things done, then they flaunt themselves, they flaunt their bodies, and they get attention for that. The problem is it's really hard to separate what's real from what we see. The problem is, and you know what, not even problem, just a fact. The fact of the matter is we're human. So it's really hard not to feel like a blimp when what you're constantly looking at is perfectly well-dressed people and perfectly polished people when you're sitting at home in your sweatpants with a zip patch on your face. The world is shallow. The world is vain. The world puts plastics on a pedestal, puts external beauty as the highest form of acceptance, of love, of recognition. Look, we all know whatever we see online, we don't necessarily know what's real, we don't know what's fake. We know, though, that we can't trust everything that we see online. So it's not worth taking the time to zoom in on people, trying to play detective on the choices that they're making in their life or for their body. That doesn't do anyone any good. What we can do is choose to give our attention to what we feel matters. We cannot control what other people do, but we can control what we choose to consume. We can control what we choose to believe about ourselves and what we choose to believe about others. So what I suggest is when you see someone who looks like they maybe had some work done, or maybe they had a lot of work done, choose to assume that they are doing that for themselves. Choose to assume that they're not doing that for anyone else, and choose not to judge. Meaning, don't judge yourself for not looking a certain way, and don't judge them for looking a certain way. Much easier said than done, that's for sure. But if you want to stop feeling pressure from society, pressure from unrealistic beauty standards, I think it's important to pay attention to the attention that you're giving to these things. The way that you're thinking about the beauty that you see. Because what we see online is not supposed to be a mirror for what you should strive to look like, for what you should strive to be. It's all about the intent behind it. If you want to get some filler, if you want to get a boob job, that's great. Do it. But then don't take to the gram with a selfie of your big lips for the attention. Then don't post a picture in an itsy bitsy bikini with your girls front and center out in front so that you can be seen for that. Just do it because you wanted to do it, not because you wanted to show everybody else what you did and show everybody else how amazing you now look. That is the problem, in my opinion. The problem is the flaunting and the posting of the perfection. For me, it's not the procedures themselves. If you want to do these things for you, to me, that's one thing. That's great. If you're doing these things to keep up, to show off, to flaunt, that is the issue. That's the insecurity, just continuing to feed more insecurity. If there's any sort of pressure to look a certain way in order to feel good about yourself, that's definitely a problem as well, because truthfully, there's some inner work there that needs to be done first. Without that, no amount of Botox, no amount of fillers, no amount of cosmetic surgeries will make you feel better. Sure, temporarily, they can make you feel better, but that eventually is going to fade. The amount of money and the amount of time spent on appearance, I believe, would be much more rewarding if you spent it in the areas that actually matter, the areas that are actually going to make you feel better about yourself from within. And I know I'm going to sound like your mom right now, or I'm going to sound like your grandma, but true beauty really does lie within. How we treat other people, how we treat ourselves, and how we treat people that we even disagree with. How you talk to yourself and the unique parts about you, that is beautiful. You could be the most outwardly beautiful person in the entire world, but if you don't feel good about who you are, if you don't feel good about what's on the inside, then you're never going to be happy. Desire to be loved and accepted by yourself first, then by those who you love, but never by the world. If we're seeking love or seeking acceptance from the world or from the masses, we're going to lose ourselves along the way, and we're going to end up looking like everyone else, thinking like everyone else, acting like everyone else, and that goes against God's will for each and every one of us. He truly made each and every one of us unique for a very specific reason. Turn to Him and allow Him to help you uncover your worth, because I promise you're not going to find it trying to keep up with everyone else. And of course, I'm going to say this to close this out. If you feel pressure, if you feel insecure due to unrealistic beauty standards of our day, if social media is killing your confidence and slowly turning you away from what's different and what's unique and what's beautiful about you, you don't have to be there. It's a choice that you get to make every single day. You can choose to choose better for yourself. You can choose to walk the path less traveled if you feel it will be better for you. You too can choose to take your life offline. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Taking Life Offline. I'd love to hear your take on today's beauty standards or pressures that you might feel in society today. It's something that I think about all the time because I'm raising two little girls right now who are one day going to grow up to be teens, one day going to grow up to be adults. So I'm trying to make sure, and I want to always make sure, that I'm being a good example to them of making sure that they can discover and know their worth from within before anything else. One thing that I think is huge in uncovering your self-worth is letting go of judgment, of really being a non-judgmental person towards others and their choices, and really focusing on your own and staying within that instead of getting caught up in what everyone else in the world seems to be doing. I hope you have an incredible week, and I will catch you next Monday.